happy to be here. Stand-up comedy is very female-dominated. I was doing a comedy festival in Austin, and sometimes when you check in to your hotel, the festival's left like a little gift bag for you, which is nice. And so I was checking into the hotel, and there were a bunch of male comics in front of me checking in, and like, good for them, you know, for trying. You know. And I got up, and the lady said to me, "Do you want your bag?" And I said, "Yeah, I mean, of course, I want what's free, you know." I realized she hadn't asked any of the dudes if they wanted it, and I didn't realize why until I got back to my hotel room and saw that the main gift from the festival for all the comics was a Fleshlight. Yeah, so there's like 32 perverts here. Either that or you're just like on a first date and you don't want her to know that you're a psycho. If you don't know what a Fleshlight is, it's a sex toy, okay? This one, I mean, it could be a butt, a fake butt. This one was a fake pussy. A synthetic vagina, if you will, disguised within a flashlight. I don't know why. I guess so if you're jacking off and your mom walks in on you, you're like, "Ah, it was a blackout." I got scared, I the flashlight. Arguably worse, you know, than if she had just caught you with your penis in your hand, because now she's worried, you know, maybe calling all the neighbors, like, "I don't know, apparently Tom's all the appliances." So all the dude comics were having a great festival, you know, themselves. What was I to do as a lady comedian with a fleshlight, you know, except for just practice kissing all weekend, huh? I got really good at it. I started kissing back. And then I walked it over to the FedEx, popped it in the mail, sent it to my boyfriend at the time, because I'm an American hero. So he lived in Ohio, which is where I grew up. A lot of people in Ohio don't realize that you can just put all of your things into a bag and then leave. Scoot right on out, you know. My mom and I, we go way back. And she's so sweet, but she's like very uncomfortable with anything sexual, okay? I think it's because she's a virgin. But she knows that I like the word boner. It's a silly word, fun activity. And on Halloween last year, she sent me a little card in the mail, you know, like all moms do on Halloween. It said, "Happy Halloween," like a little skeleton on the front of it. This is a skeleton. This is also what I look like when I'm trying to look thin and fat out. And then underneath it said, "Bon appetit," okay? And then you open it up, and my mom had handwritten in there, "Or boner appetit to you." No. I think you just told your daughter she's got an appetite for boner. And I do, you know, but I never finish them. So. I just get mine and then I scoot. My mom has been with Sprint for the last 70 years. And she had a little jitterbug flip phone thing, and it stopped working. So she took it into the store, and she was like, "My phone's broken." And they were like, "You dropped it." And she's like, "I never," you know. And my mom didn't drop it, okay? She keeps it like in her quilt purse, wrapped in a quilt, in another quilt. The phone rings, and my mom's like, "See you later." Hello? And then no one's there. So she goes, well, how much is it to replace? And they said, $200. And she's like, I paid $29, you know. And I'm like, yeah, well, with the rebate and everything. She goes, I need to go home and think about it, which only a 63-year-old woman can do, you know. Just like spend 3 days without a phone just to figure out whether it's cost viable, you know. So she goes home and calls me from the landline looking for some advice, and I was just like, yeah, Mom, figure out how much longer you have left, you know. On the plan, you monsters. So you don't have to pay to get out of it, you know. She goes, okay. So she calls them from the landline, and they say, yeah, we can answer that for you. We just need you to answer some security questions and get into your account. And my mom goes, okay. And Sprint said, who was your childhood best friend? And my mom said, Margot. And Sprint said, no. And she goes, was it Gail? And they're like, no. And she goes, oh my God, I don't know. Was it Trudy? And they're like, ma'am, you can really only answer this so many times. Why don't you think about it and give us a call back? So then my mom calls me again. She's like, this is bogus. And I was like, it is. And I got her all fired up, and I was like, screw Sprint, Mom. Screw Sprint. And she was like, don't cuss. And then she called them back, and she's like, I'm going to be leaving your company. I am going over to my daughter's company, AT&T. Like I own it. Yeah. And they're like, we're sorry to hear that. We're Sprint. And then my mom goes, well, can I know who my childhood best friend is?